believe was called the Pleasure Palace, and pick out an outfit, which he did.
Go ask Rob Halford.
He went with his daughter to the sex shop.
Well, you know.
Bob's a weird guy.
You know.
So
bonding.
Yeah, father-daughter bonding.
No.
A little bit of timeline stuff here. The film takes place in 1986, 5 years after the original. Though filmed and released in 1984, the original takes place in 81, the year Wes Craven wrote the script. So far, we're in 1986. This gets fucked up as time goes on, so we don't know exactly after that. Hopefully somebody's got it written down. The scene with the possessed parakeet was based on we're getting there. Was based on the film The Birds.
Yeah. Well.
Clu Gulager had his eye injured during filming of the scene. The producers later regretted even putting it in the movie as it was too goofy. They had originally created a puppet of a demonic parakeet that they chose not to use in favor of a real one.
Demonic
parakeet.
Parakeet.
Yep.
Adding to the list of our metal band / album titles. We are demonic parakeet.
And we're playing at the S&M Club, which thankfully wasn't called the Manhole. I half expected it to be called that. It was just called like Jack's Place or something like that.
I think it was Dave.
Was it Dave? All right.
It was Dave.
Who calls anything Dave?
I don't know. Some guy named Dave.
Speaking of which, David Miller.
Hi, I'm Dave. This is my place.
David Miller was not available to do makeup on this movie. He was working on Friday the 13th Part 5 and Cocoon.
Traitor.
Right? So the job of creating Freddy fell to Kevin Yeager, whose design for the makeup was angular and focused on the bone structures in Freddy's face.
He does look different.
He very much does, yeah. Every makeup job is slightly different. If you pay attention, you'll see it. The sequence of Freddy ripping through Jesse was created in 11 weeks, with a full torso and life mask being made of Mark Patton, of which Robert helped Mark deal with the claustrophobia of having the caster mold made. Because if you don't know how they do this, basically what they did, I don't even think they do plaster anymore at all. I think it's all CGI. But what they used to do was literally they would plug your nose with cotton, and they would give you a straw. I'm not fucking kidding.
No, they still do it.
A straw to breathe out of. Do they still do it?
Because Garmin on the Orville.
Oh, right. He had to do that. Yeah. So they do still do prosthetics every now and then. But yeah, and they just basically pour all this plaster on your face, and you have to sit there for an hour breathing through a straw with no ability to move. And
gotta have that's like Navy SEAL training. Yeah. Jesus.
Well, that's why they literally had Robert Englund there, pretty much just holding his hand of like, you got this, you're cool, it's all good, because Robert had been doing this for a while now. Because he had to get a new one made, of course, for Kevin Yeager, right? So, the eye in Jesse's mouth was Kevin Yeager's girlfriend because she was the only one small enough to fit into the back part of the mask. Now, this is a weird story. So, even though, Wes turned everything down, he wasn't, bitter or anything like that. I mean, he was, but that was until later on when he found out he wasn't making any money off of this fucking picture. He didn't find that out until later. Wes lent the hero glove from the first film for pickup shots, which was given to him at the end of the production of the first film. That glove disappeared after the production wrapped. There were many rumors over the years as to what happened to the glove. Then a fan named Mike Becker claimed to have found the glove and put it up for auction in 2011. But the most recent and most credible comes from Robert Englund himself, who claims that on the day of the pickups there were a lot of shady guys walking around who, according to him, were just there to steal the glove. So Robert took it. And he didn't know at the time it was Wes's. He floated it behind glass and gave it to his agent, who now apparently won't give it back. So
to this day?
Yeah, so supposedly that's where it is. But I don't know for sure, because nobody's... Robert says it, but... I'm not gonna lie, Robert says a lot of things that might not be true.
Right.
So I don't know. Had this film failed, New Line Cinema might not have survived. Bob Shaye micromanaged every aspect of the production, regularly confusing crew members by stepping over the line and offering orders which should have come from the director.
Good job, Bob.
Yeah, that led to an understandably uneasy relationship between Bob Shaye and Jack Shoulder. On top of this, the production was remarkably rushed, slotted for a November 1st, 1985 release date when the first film had only been released November 9th of the previous year. As a result, tensions were high, the hours were long, and work was hard. There was no real time to stop and second-guess the direction of the franchise. which might be why this movie doesn't make any sense. Robert Englund recalls several moments during filming, such as the pool sequence where Freddy appears as to teenagers outside of their dreams, where he struggled with playing the part, because so much of it felt like it was going against the rules set in the first installment. Many of the producers asked the same questions and weren't sure the film was going to work because of how vastly different it was.
I just cut to some, like, union guy just like, hey!
Mm-hmm.
Like some boom guy like, hey! Didn't this guy be, like, in their dreams or something? Shut up, Lou!
Weirdly enough, it was kind of like that. Including the production accountant, who is present throughout all these movies. In fact,
like the Bob Shea, just telling people to shut up.
Pretty much.
Shut up, it's a movie, shut up.
The production accountant from the first film, who works her way up to literally be the director of Freddy's Dead, she is interviewed in the Never Sleep Again documentary, just going, I don't know why they did this. Like, this movie doesn't make any sense. She was working on it, but she's like, I don't know, like, why would we not have dream sequences in the movie about the dream killer? Like, none of it makes any sense. Because they don't. There's not really any real dream sequences. Like, nobody dies in their dream in this movie. Spoiler alert. But with all this, it was big enough to finally give the studio some cash flow, and in the following years, New Line Cinema would continue to make Elm Street movies, literally being known as the house that Freddy built, and hit with another horror franchise that I know one day I'll have to cover because I only liked one of them and the rest of them are stupid. Critters. Terrible franchise. But it worked. So, you can't really talk about this movie without talking about one specific aspect. The homoerotic quote-unquote subtext. And I quote subtext and I'll get why that is.
There ain't nothing sub
There's
about
nothing
it.
sub about this whatsoever.
Well, maybe there's a sub, but it ain't subtext.
Yeah,
you dig?
exactly.
You dig?
Yeah, they're over at the Pleasure Palace, or Dave's. After the film's release, it has now been touted as one of the leading early gay movies, and Out Magazine has called it the gayest horror movie of the 80s, and a website called rainbow.co.uk calling it the gayest horror movie ever. Director Jack Shoulder, as well as the entire cast and crew, have claimed on several occasions that while making the movie, they didn't even notice the gay subtext at all.
You have a scene in a gay bar.
No, it's not a gay bar. I noticed that too. I thought that the whole time, but no, it's not.
It's
just
a leather bar?
How many women are in that bar hooking up with dudes? That's just an S&M bar.
There's women that hook up with guys in gay bars too.
Well,
not many.
But there's like mostly women in there. It's like, it's 50, well, I wouldn't say mostly. It was 50-50 in there. That looked just like an S&M joint.
Yeah.
When Grady calls it a queer S&M joint, I don't know if he means queer as in gay or queer as in just fucking weird.
Yeah.
Because that's what the original term of queer meant. So, I think that might be the move. However, Robert Englund claims he knew, but no one's buying it.
Well.
Because don't you think somebody would have said something, including Robert, who was not one to shut up in these movies? While writer David Chaskin denied writing it into the script. He then blamed Mark Patton's performance, claiming he played it, quote, too gay. This insulted Mark Patton. He felt Chaskin was verbally gay-bashing him in the press, and even today, after many times Chaskin has attempted to apologize, Patton has never forgiven him or even spoken to him. Comments like this made Mark Patton quit acting shortly after Nightmare 2 wrapped. He quit acting in 1985 to become an interior designer and didn't return to acting until 2016. He
didn't have to return.
He did not. He's alright. Like, I don't know, you don't like him. I thought he was fine. I thought he had some decent moments in the movie. I mean, he had some shitty moments, but he had some decent moments. I thought he did some good stuff. And apparently the movie he did before this, that Robert Englund saw him in, was really good. Called Come Back to the Five and Dine, Jimmy Dean. It's a musical. Apparently it was really good. I mean... Robert Englund likes everything, so it's kind of hard to say. In the incredible 2010 documentary Never Sleep Again, The Elm Street Legacy, I keep forgetting that I've actually mentioned it before. I wrote it as if I'd never mentioned the documentary before. Chaskin finally admitted he wrote it into the script, and it was supposed to be subtext, to which Mark Patton said in an interview he needs to look up the definition of subtext. Patton was in the closet in Hollywood at the time. His feminine demeanor landed him the role in this and other films with a sexually ambiguous subtext, which he was trying to shed by the time of the filming of Nightmare 2. There were many times on set Mark didn't want to do things that were too overt. In one of the first scenes with Freddy, Freddy traces the claw on Jesse's lip. Originally, he was supposed to move it in and out of Jesse's mouth. Mark refused, and it was filmed as it was. The second was the infamous dance scene.
Oh, sweet.
Mark
dancing Christ.
Mark desperately didn't want to do it.
Smart man.
Eventually agreed, but he eventually agreed to do it.
You got to, you know.
In
bosses are telling you to do
it was
something.
their attempt to mimic the Tom Cruise dance scene in Risky Business, more so. That scene still plays frequently in gay clubs everywhere to this day.
Oh, like him boogieing down in his bedroom with the glasses and the hat and the whole deal?
Yeah, it's played quite a lot.
Yeah.
He still wishes he could delete it from the film and his life, but he does say that with a smile. And in all fairness, he did come up with the choreography. So, it's on him at this point. And I'm going to bring up the Cinema Snob again, as he was doing his review for this, he's just like, I don't really see this as gay, I just see this as 80s. Like, he's not gay, he's just a man of the time. And
it's not wrong.
Not wrong. Like, watching that dance scene a couple times, that's pretty much what you did in the 80s. I mean, Top Gun's volleyball scene is infinitely gayer than this.
Very much so.
So, and that
because they were hanging with the boys,
and that was considered perfectly straight and manly. So
that was considered macho.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
Which I'm like, no, you talk about Nightmare on Elm Street being gay. Like, I'm sorry. So, where was I? Okay. Mark used to hate the fact that he was in the movie. After appearing in Never Sleep Again, he has since embraced it and is doing all the conventions as the first male Scream Queen. He donates most of his appearance fees to LGBTQ youth charities such as the Trevor Project and HIV research, having been diagnosed with the disease on his 40th birthday. He completed a documentary called Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, which, as of this recording, has not had any kind of wide release, although it is supposedly still coming. And
is it just like his experience on this movie, or just like is it a Scream Queen documentary? Well, like he's going to get all the.
I'm hoping he's getting everybody together, but according to what I saw on the cast list, it was everybody from Nightmare 2. I don't see aside from David Chaskin, who clearly was not allowed to attend, but like from Jack Shoulder down, it seems all Nightmare 2 people. Okay. So. I don't know. I would like to see that, though. Because, they do have a panel that does travel around all the conventions that's like the Scream Queens, and he is one of them.
I would love to see a Scream Queens documentary.
Oh, there's definitely one. Yeah. I would bet money on it. Once I'm done with this, I'll take a look, because I guarantee
come on.
I guarantee you one exists, And if it doesn't, we've now come up with the best idea. Copyright Stephen Justin, and somebody will make this, and they have to pay us money.
Yep.
Just saying. But, you know what? Fuck that. No, just do it, because I want to see it. I ain't going to make it, so I just want to see somebody do it. And Jesse needs to be included.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Mark Patton, not Jesse.
No.
Not a real person. The film did exceptionally well in Europe, because the sexual subtext and undertones struck a chord with the audience, because that's kind of Europe's thing.
Yeah. Oh, we love it in France!
Pretty much. And I should have moved this, but I was actually going to do it during the film, but screw it, I'll just do it now. The end, the final Freddy scene where he's just, like, melting, that was literally just, they made a rubber mold of Robert Englund, and they just used hair dryers and melted it.
Melting!
It kind of works, though, I'm not gonna lie.
What a world.
And I hope this happens for all of the movies, because this happened again. Freddy is only on screen for 13 minutes of the film's 87-minute runtime, but he's getting up there. He's
clawing his way into actual screen time.
Pun intended.
So, Nightmare 2.
Yes.
Freddy's Revenge.
Although...
Fred Krueger, Freddy if you're nasty.
Already I start... What? Isn't he already getting revenge? What is this? Revenge of the Revenge of the Revenge? Because he was already killing the kids because his parents killed him.
These kids had nothing to do with it.
No.
They just bought a shitty house.
Which is weird because the fourth one, and I know I'm jumping ahead, literally touts Alice as being the last of the Elm Street kids. But I'm like, fucking Jesse wasn't one of them. Neither was Lisa. Grady might have been, but I don't know. Seems weird.
Either way, we start